All right, what's going on, guys? Thought I would give you an update on my search for an auxiliary fuel tank. This is it. This is a Lund tank. This is a 50-gallon model. If you remember my last video, I had an RDS tank that would not fit underneath the tonneau cover due to the fill neck up there being a little too tall and not being able to be removed. So this tank is a little different. Let's get up here and take a look. So all of this came separate. It comes with two plastic pieces here. I had to provide the cap on the end down there and just tighten that up. No issues there. This, you have to thread it in there pretty far. Obviously some diesel fuel rated thread tape, not just your regular white tape, or you're gonna have leaks there. So if you look around, you can see a little bit of some spots there. So you fill this thing up too much. This is a vented cap, and so if it's too full, it will, even in the vapor, it'll put some dots here of diesel. Not anything bad. If you get it over 45 gallons and it gets hot and starts to expand, it will bubble out. So I normally put around 42 to 43 gallons in here, and I don't have any issues. This spotting right here, maybe just a little vapor there because it was out in the direct sunlight yesterday, but really no issues. So as you can tell, tonneau cover folds right over that. Can't see it at all when it's pulled tight, so that was a big plus. And then again, I was also looking for one, since I have a short bed, that would fit between the wheel wells and give me enough room for my camper. And so if you've seen some other videos, I do have a Gen Y goose box, and so this is the 4-inch extender from B&W. So camper is never anywhere close to the tank, and so no issues there. So this one has worked really well for me. This is listed as a transfer tank, but it does have the hole down there for the gravity feed. Now if you see my connection down there, it looks pretty kinked, and it is pretty kinked. So I was a little worried about that, but really what it is the tank is so wide that if you try to get it centered and make sure that you've got enough space there, you have a little bit of kink in there. And really the way that I drilled the hole for the tube to go down, there was kind of a brace behind that, so there wasn't really a better way to do that. So if the connection hadn't have worked, I would have had to figure something different out. But even with that little kink in there, it works really well, and so no issues as far as that goes. The only issue that I had was obviously cutting the metal fuel fill neck in here. It was a real pain. You had to get up underneath there. There's a couple of ways to do it. You can take it completely off. You can try to cut it underneath there if you're brave enough with like a reciprocating saw. It's tight underneath there. Of course, you got metal shavings to deal with and things like that, so please be careful when you hook up something like that. All right, so let's talk about performance. This is the main thing that I was concerned with on the tank. Is I wanted obviously it to fit, but then I wanted to make sure that I could pick where I stopped and go a little bit further without having to stop as often. So this truck comes with a 31-gallon tank, which when you're towing a camper or anything heavy and you're getting anywhere between 9 and 11 miles a gallon, 31 gallons goes pretty fast. So this tank is 50, and so combine that with the 31, that gives you a max capacity of 81 gallons. Definitely at least more than doubled my range here. So here's how I've used this tank so far. I've tested different methods, and this is what seems to work best for me. The truck has a higher burn rate than the tank has a fill rate. So when you're towing, if you just turn the valve on when you leave and the tank is not completely full, you're going to outrun the fill rate. The gravity feed is slow. It's just a drip, it's just a trickle. The more fuel you have in the tank, the faster it goes. I've noticed that as the tank gets lower and lower, the fill rate gets slower. Which just makes sense. So the method that's worked best for me is I turn the valve on first thing in the morning when we're going to be leaving on a travel day, and that way the tank can completely top off. Now this has the RDS gravity feed kit that I already had from my previous tank, and it works great. Once it gets to a certain point, the fuel will push a ball valve up and it will stop filling, and it works, and it's never leaked. I've never had any issue with it. But I don't leave it on all the time just because I'm, I guess, a little paranoid about coming out and finding 50 gallons of fuel on the ground in the morning or making a mess in a parking lot or something like that. So I really only turn the valve on when I'm going to be towing. So On the morning I tow, I turn it on first thing and let that tank fill up completely. On this last trip, we did about 400 miles, I think, on one day. And when we got to our destination, I had a little bit over 3/4 of a tank of fuel in the main tank. So for the most part, gravity feed was keeping up, but there was a little bit of a deficit there. So this will fill up further than I'll probably want to go in a day. So it worked out great. We didn't have to stop at a truck stop or anything like that to fill up. We could get to our destination, unhook, go out to dinner. I'd fill up at a Sam's or a gas station that was 30 to 40 to 50 cents cheaper sometimes than what was being sold on the interstate. It doesn't take long when you're filling up 70 to 80 gallons at a 50-cent savings for you to pay for the cost of an auxiliary tank. This tank was about $450, and I'll put a link to where I got it. It was online. It was extremely fast shipping. I got it in just a couple of days. The tank with the tabs on the bottom has 4 mounting tabs. They do come bent. There's probably no way to ship one of those things without them getting bent, unless you ship it like the RDS tank I had. If you remember that video, it was on a pallet strapped down, which got scratches on the tank, but the tabs weren't bent. No big deal. You just take some pliers or a hammer or something, bend those tabs back, and it mounted up fine. So far, no issues with this tank. Really like it. It makes towing a lot better. Of course, it costs a lot more to fill up, but if you're not towing, this is going to last quite a long time. So you can do the math on the gallons and whatever your mileage is in your vehicle. But if you got a mega cab short bed or just a short bed in general and you're looking for something to fit, this tank is one of the few that I've found that you can actually get underneath a tonneau cover and between the wheel wells. So I hope that helps. If you're looking for a tank, stay tuned for some more videos. If you happen to catch those 2 new to me motorcycles in the background, may do a video on those sometime soon. Stay tuned and we'll see you next time.